Okay, so now that we have found price and quantity, graphed the market, it's time for us to add a subsidy instead of a tax. If you missed those videos, I highly encourage you to go back and watch how to graph and solve for free market, competitive, price and quantity, P star and Q star before you watch this video. So the next step is to consider a per unit subsidy in the marketplace. So in this case, we're going to consider a subsidy of 50 cents per unit. And so the very first step is to find your demand, supply, and wedge equations. And so, as you might recall, one of the things that we do is work really hard to identify which function is supply and which is demand. How you know that is the symbol in front of the variable. So in this case, it's negative, indicating a negative relationship. And so we want to put PD and QD here, and then PS and QS here, showing a positive relationship for producers between quantity and price. The price goes up, I want to sell more. A negative relationship between price and quantity for consumers. Price goes up, I want to buy less. Okay, so then we add this wedge method for our subsidy. And in this case, we wrote PD equals PS minus the subsidy. We could have written PS equals PD plus the subsidy. Mathematically, they're the same thing. Just choose one and sort of go with it. We put a box around this. This is our source of truth. You need a source of truth, and this is it. So if anything goes haywire, we're going to go right back to that. So again, we're going to have a 50 cent per unit subsidy. So let's begin. So as you can see, I have a PD here and a PD here. And so what I'm going to do is simply plug PS minus sub, sorry, my 5's and S's look the same, so I write it out as sub, into the demand function. I'm going to change that demand function. I'm just going to call it QD prime, just like we did in the tax video. PS minus the subsidy, okay? I'm going to distribute both the negative and the 200. And I'm going to get QD prime is equal to 900 minus 200 PS plus negative times a negative 200 sub. I'm going to then set this equal to QS. So QD prime is equal to QS. So that 900 minus 200 PS plus 200 sub is equal to 700 PS. Okay, I'm going to combine my terms. I'm going to add 200 PS to both sides. And I'm going to get 900 PS is equal to 900 plus 200 times the subsidy. I'm going to divide both sides by 900. So notice I'm dividing 900, the 200 sub by 900, and also this side of the plus sign by 900. I do that so I don't forget that I want two things. 900 divided by 900 is 1, plus 2/9 times the subsidy equals the price suppliers receive considering the subsidy. Now, you could then take this and plug it back in for PS here in the wedge equation, or you could use your brain. So let's use economic intuition. And so the economics tells us that for a subsidy, the price suppliers receive goes up, but the price consumers pay, you know that functioning in the real world, goes down. And so PD should fluctuate around that free market price, okay? Markets still prevail, but it should be less. So instead of a positive, let's do a negative. Whatever's left of the subsidy is what consumers get. In this case, 7/9 times the subsidy. So I now have an equation for both consumers and producers and how they are affected by the subsidy. So I'm going to go over here. I just want to graph. I'm going to put the subsidy to the right or expanding the marketplace, because we know subsidies lead to increased trade, whereas taxes lead to decreased trade. So I'm just going to put that wedge equation there. Ooh, I'm running out. Let's do it in purple instead. Breaking rules. This is PS because it's at the intersection of that wedge and the supply function. This is PD because it's at the intersection of the wedge and the demand function. So this remains the $1 market price. So now I have to find how the quantity traded changes with the subsidy. I'll call that Q sub. So let's go into here, and I have a choice. I can either plug PD, this function that we got, into the demand, or I can plug PS into the supply. Now, it looks a lot easier to plug PS into supply. I just can't mix them up. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to do QS is equal to 700 times 1 plus 2/9 times the subsidy. It's very intuitive, right? The price that producers receive goes up. That's what I expect. I distribute the 700 and I get, what does that come to? You guys probably are quicker on your calculator than I am. 155.56 times the subsidy. That's the quantity traded in the marketplace as it relates to the subsidy. And let's see if it checks out with our intuition. I expect the free market quantity to prevail, and we're fluctuating, not just any old way, but we're increasing the amount traded. Because we got a positive there, I believe it. Now here's the part where students get all this way and then they don't know what to do with it. I'm going to put it in blue. I have now 3 functions that relate quantity and prices to any subsidy amount I can get. So in this case, I said, let's assess a 50-cent subsidy. So that just means anywhere I see this subsidy amount, here, here, and here, I just plug in my calculator 50 cents. And when I do that, I get that producers get $1.11. Consumers only have to pay 61 cents. What's the quantity traded in the marketplace? Let's see what I got. You can check me. Quantity traded in the marketplace is 777 units, 77.78 units. And so what that says is that, okay, producers get more, consumers pay less, and the amount traded in the marketplace has expanded, which is great news. The difference between PS and PD better be your subsidy amount of 50 cents. And in fact, that checks out. And so for all those reasons, because the intuition behind the symbols makes sense, the share of the subsidy is intuitive. Check out the elasticity videos that are coming up on that. All of those reasons, we fluctuate around the free market price and quantity. We believe our answers, so we think we did it. So congratulations, you survived subsidies.